We are monitoring a live situation right now. It's actually a
Right
major
now,
collision in space.
wow, look at the detail that you can see.
It is amazing. It looks like a
So those are rocks on the surface of Dimorphos of some kind. Big cheers going up here inside the Johns Hopkins Applied Physics Laboratory. Aaron, you just think about how much time and energy the people in this room have how much time and effort they put into this being a success. And there, I think you can see the crowd cheering down in mission control. Probably the only time that you're going to cheer for a loss of a spacecraft, Aaron.
And now pretty amazing to see it. I mean, this sounds like obviously celebration in that room. I mean, talk about threading a needle, Kristen. I mean, you just said, you're talking about that they just sent from Earth an object the size of a refrigerator, ancient object the size of a Great Pyramid, in the middle of space at 14,000 miles an hour, and they hit it.
So I can't believe people are actually buying this, right? So consider what we're being shown, whether you think this is a real mission or not, or that these people even do what they say they do. That's up to you. That's just where you're at right now. But let's all just look at what we're being shown in this event, right? We're being shown that NASA now outsources a lot of their work. They're working with colleges or institutions to help them do missions in the sky, right? We also have Space Force, and then we have SpaceX, who runs packages around for NASA. It's getting ridiculous, right? But consider, this is a mission to save the world that's being done by not NASA and Space Force, right? But by NASA and Johns Hopkins College, right? And the headline says NASA is doing these events, right? But they're showing Johns Hopkins, right? Shouldn't we be watching the people who can really advise and teach us on this, or the people who are supposedly really the ones that would really do it if need be? Because if you're buying that these people would be in the office to save us if this actually was to happen, you're missing what's being shown to you. You're being shown that a bunch of slouches, the Geek Squad at Best Buy, people who don't care about if their clothes is wrinkled when they show up to work, they don't care about if their clothes is tucked in. They don't care if their belly's hanging out. They don't wear ties. They don't have creased pants. They're not disciplined people. And they're purposely showing you this to put this in your head that these would be the people responsible for saving you if a disaster came. And the reason why they want you to look at it and have this subconscious idea is because they want you to be afraid of if an asteroid disaster were to come. Consider what NASA, the depiction of NASA employees used to be. They used to be people well-dressed, disciplined, former military, people who wanted to take a higher levels of education, geniuses, right? But look at what we're being shown here. We're being shown college dropouts, high school dropouts, senior citizens who don't really look experienced. They just kind of are waiting to retire type people. Pretty much the cast of The Office, right? That's what we're being shown as the people who would save us if need be. And they're celebrating and they're showing the world this, right? This is important. They're showing the world that Best Buy Geek Squad will save you if there is a disaster. So let's focus on why we're really here. The predictive programming, the ramping up of people's mind that something could come from the sky and destroy them. But I want you to know that all stories of asteroids coming here to destroy us are exactly that. They're stories, and stories are just retelling of the Starries, made up or rewrapped into stories that get passed down on and on to people. And this also applies to his story or high story. So if you logically just work out what's going on when the giant rock from the sky is to come down, you're hearing the story of the moon. And why does this mesh with the moon? Well, the moon there's visible craters seen when you look at the moon. So what's a way to invert or pervert that idea? Well, the moon will actually cause craters into the earth. And in case you're thinking that this is not true, anytime you have a story with titans or giants, it's always going to point back to the moon. This is why with David and Goliath, a stone is thrown at the eye of the moon, because giants encode the moon. This is why giants are only able to be killed a certain amount of ways. slash through the back of their neck. You go inside of them, and you'll also see this kind of same idea mesh with films where you see people going at or in the moon or attacking it on the backside, the dark side. And this is also applies to people who are named after the moon. So this is why Ultron, which has the word Ron in it, and Ron is always a word that points back to moon. Ronald McDonald, same thing with Don. So you can only imagine what will happen if Ron and Don get elected together in 2024. And to consider the word Ron is also in the middle of Corona, right? Because it's a covering of the moon. Now, we know that we're supposedly in this great reset. And I can show you that almost anytime there's a great reset encoded in a film, there always will be some type of eye in the sky. And the eye in the sky, like the Eye of Mordor, points back to the moon, right? Or Sauron's eye in the sky is always a play on the moon. In fact, this is where we get the word dinosaurs from the word Sauron, because they all encode the moon. And consider every time there's an eye in the sky, there's going to be a reset. A lot of people may go bye-bye, but it's also more so a reset. I can just to give you a rundown, Avengers Endgame, right? You have Thanos, who's a personification of the moon. He throws a rock. It's a reset film, right? Even though we don't see an eye in the sky, we see Hawkeye, who's a character who's normally sun-based, become moon-based, and his name becomes Ronan or Ronan. Ron is always a word that points to the moon, right? So we do have the eye in the sky in the film. It's just encoded in the character. In the Transformers 1984 cartoon movie, we have a giant planet that transforms into an eye. It also eats planets. It's also referred to as a moon, and then it's also referred to as a virus. But it's called Unicron, and it has the word Ron in it, right? And Ron means moon. In the Naruto series, there's a plan called the Eye of the Moon phase. And after they're able to overcome that phase, it's a reset. A new generation occurs after it. And this idea is easy to apply to all films. The Death Star in Star Wars. How do you beat the moon? You have to either go inside of it or destroy it from the dark side. Because these are all stories just telling you the same story over and over about the moon. The same thing with the Lord of the Rings. And after that, there was a reset, the return of the king, a new age starts. So that's what we're kind of looking at now, right? And you see them ramping up the idea about the big one. Even the dinosaur idea has a giant rock or eye in the sky resetting the whole planet.
We used all our power.
我々は全力を尽くしました。
In 3 days,
3日後、
giant asteroid
巨
will
大隕
crash
石
into
は
the
地球
Earth.
に衝突します。
Mankind is being tested
人類
as
は
to how it
試さ
will
れていま
spend
す。
the remaining
残
time.
された時間をどのように過ごすか、試さ
I've
れてい
lived
ま
long
す。
enough.
私は十
I
分
even
生きま
became
した。
president of
大
this
統領に
great
もなりま
land.
した。
I have no regrets.
思い残すことはありません。
The rest of you
クソ野
losers
郎ども、
can go do whatever the hell you want. There's no
今
more
なら
price
何を
to
やっても
pay.
罪には。
When the earth starts to settle, God throws a stone at it. And believe me, he's winding up.
You're a madman.
There were more than a dozen extinction-level events before even the dinosaurs got